Hi there, Casey Healy, Director here at Century 21 Newcastle and Century 21 Charlestown, back with you for our Monday wrap, keeping Newcastle and Lake Macquarie investors up to date on what's happening in the current rental market, tips, tricks and strategies to maximise your return on your investment. Today, Nicole Hoare joins me, our investor consultant from our Newcastle office. Morning, Nick.
Morning.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I had a productive weekend, got some things tidied up, had some family time, so it was nice.
Awesome.
What about yours?
We had sport Saturday, it's always sport on Saturday, and then we had a benefit for one of my husband's best mates, little girls who has cerebral palsy, so it was really nice to see the community get behind her and raise some funds to hopefully get her wheelchair man.
Yeah, nice.
Last 30 days, let's review what's happening.
I know, we're already at August, so let's, I don't know where the year's going, but don't mention Christmas, we don't need to be talking about that yet. But in the last 30 days, we had 1,026 tenant inquiries. We had 76 inspections scheduled, 427 who registered to inspect, and out of that we had 347 applications. 21 properties leased. Now, what there has been a big, I wouldn't say big, it's a little shift, but it's something we're noticing.
It is fairly significant.
To what we've seen 6-8 weeks ago?
Yeah, and it's very, very prominent over the last month with that average days on market. So we've kind of jumped from 7 to 9.9, so 10. So that's 3 days. So that's like a 40%. If my maths is correct, somewhere around 40, late 30s to 40% increase on the time it takes to lease a property.
Yeah, so and I think, and we've spoken about this before, we need to be mindful, investors need to be mindful, on that changing market, and that's what we're here for, to keep you updated and have that transparency.
It's what's happening here on the ground, it's not what you read in the media.
Yeah.
I can't stipulate that enough and kind of hone down on that enough. It's just not always what you read in the media. We need to be looking at our Newcastle, Lake Macquarie micro market and comparing to that, not the overall regional market.
Yeah, definitely. And today you want to share and talk to us about...
So I thought we'd chat about selling a property with tenants. And we've kind of got a case study in our office around this at the moment. And I believe if you're going to sell a property, then run with it and sell that property. I don't want to sound too harsh when I say this, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't want to sell a property and expect it to be leased and have good rent on the property at the same time. It just doesn't come hand in hand. So with legislation, there was changes that come out a couple of years ago that if you placed a property on the market for sale and you didn't tell the tenant at the start of the tenancy that there was a contract prepared or that you're thinking of selling the property, that tenant can vacate, giving you the return notice, 2 weeks notice, that they'll be vacating and breaking that lease with no penalty. So I think selling a property with tenants, you need to be aware of that. And if you were really wanting to sell the property and really maximize your return on that, sell the property vacant. Have it styled, present it at its best, and sell that property. So we've had a property recently, we had it leased, we had some really great tenants in there, and the owners turned around and they put the property on the market. And we lost those tenants. Then the property come off the market, we released the property, and then they decided again that actually we do want to sell the property. So we're about to do our second vacate on this property because the property's on the market for sale, and both times were really quality tenants, but both times they've been lost because the property's been listed on the market for sale.
Yeah, and I suppose we are aware circumstances do change, let's be honest, and it's not a...
Definitely they do.
Yeah.
Look, and there'll be times where you can't have a vacant property because you've got tenants under lease and things like that. But I think you've got to be mindful and be thinking about that at your lease renewal. Is there a chance I want to sell this property? Because you want to be able to expose your property to the most people out there in the market. So if you've got a fixed term tenancy or a fixed lease on that property, then sometimes you're not going to attract everyone because people want to purchase a property and they want to move straight in. So being aware of that when you are coming to sell a property is something that you really do need to have those considerations and that pre-planning for.
Yeah, definitely.
So just my thought for the week on This is stuff that's happening here on the ground in our office. So I thought I'd share it with you all so you can make informed decisions when it comes to the time that you may consider or want to be selling your property.
And reach out to us. So like we're here to have a chat, and we always have complete transparency and that guidance on what we would.
Yeah, if you are considering, like, have that early conversation with us. We can let you know on what's happening in the rentals and the sales market, because you want to know that you're selling in the right market, but you also want to know that what's happening currently in the rental market, that if my tenants were to vacate because I've put that property on the market, how easy is it going to be to secure new tenants? And at the moment, it's not going to be, because there's a little bit more on the market for lease, and tenants don't want to be in a property that's on the market for sale, that they have to allow access a couple of times a week. They've always got to have it presented well for the agents. So to them, it's an inconvenience. That's us for this week. If you've got any questions in relation to your property, if we can help in any way, unhappy with your current agent, let's have conversations now to get you happy and ensure that you've got the best in property management looking after your investment. I'm Casey Healy, Director here at Century 21, Nova Cashin, Newcastle, and Century 21, Parky John Smith at Charlestown.
And I'm Nicole Hoare, Investor Consultant here within our office.
We've just changed the ending to this, guys. We'll get it down pat a little bit better next time.
And we'll talk to you next week.
See you later. Bye.